Hello, this is Steve, and I'm reading from The Wine Enthusiast. Airport Pours, in praise of a toast before takeoff. There's something exhilarating and strange about the energy in an airport bar. The transient nature of the whole endeavor puts it in a place between normal life and adventure. It's the purgatory of the travel experience. You're not quite where you're going, but you're definitely not at home either. There's a wide range of quality in the offerings for tipples. I've seen everything from lengthy lists of my favorite glass pours to the simply bifurcated decision of red or white. However, what never fails to serve up is unequivocally some of the best people watching in modern life. We're all alone at home so much of these days. When we do leave, our experience is pretty narrowed in focus to our small radius of shops, schools, and cafes. We have our phones, dopamine, calculus, partly to blame for this problem, especially for younger generations. But the window to go out and see others feels like it's getting smaller every day. Even our groceries and food can be delivered, further slimming our chances for run-ins with strangers in the wild. A libation doesn't just offer a moment for us to connect with others, although it does that oh so well. A glass of something offers us a moment to pause in an effortlessly civilized fashion and observe the everyday. This effort to take in what's around us is always part of travel, but I wager the airport offers some of the most interesting encounters of the journey. I've seen bar fights, breakups, business dealings, and warm embraces. I've observed teary phone calls, relentless gossiping, children misbehaving with reckless abandon, and even people fast asleep. The full spectrum of human emotion is waiting to be witnessed at the airport. It's this study of our lived condition, not the fake edited version we see online, that allows us to feel closer to each other. We're also boundlessly relatable outside of the theater of social media. So the next time you step into the airport for business or pleasure, order yourself a glass and put the phone down. Enjoy the spectacle of real life playing out in front of you. It may not be until your next journey that you'll see it again. Ventoux AOC at the peak. Centered on a mighty mountain, AOC Ventoux crafts cool climate wines in southern Rhone amid breathtaking views. Ventoux is one of France's best-kept secrets. Among the coolest climates in the southern Rhone, Ventoux's wines offer more freshness and brightness than is typical to this sun-drenched part of southeastern France. There's a mighty mountain to thank for that, Mount Ventoux. Its dramatic limestone-capped peak is both feared and revered by cyclists who consider it the most grueling part of the famous Tour de France race. It vastly different night-to-day temperatures and chilly winds, after all, vent translates to wind, also make it a life force for grapes, giving them the chance to ripen slowly and evenly on the vines that have dotted its foothills and western slopes in some form for over 2,000 years. Like Ventoux's famous mountain, wine quality here is on a steep incline. Besides vibrancy, wines from Ventoux increasingly offer elegance and precision. The reds, made from Rhone's famed fruit basket of varieties, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, Mourvedre, and Carignan, dish up all of the silky, supple, hug-in-a-glass comfort we've come to love from this southern Rhone, but with beautifully balanced acidity, spice, and filigreed tannins. Rosés range from ballerina pink to cherry in hue with heady floral and red berry aromas. They're exceptionally food-friendly. The whites, made from Grenache Blanc, Claret, Roussanne Viognier, and Vermentino, are delicate yet creamy drops with texture and orchard fruit characteristics perfect for pairing with seafood and spring greens. In addition to the brisk mountain air, Ventoux's soils contribute to the region's wines, adding both power and delicacy depending on site and variety. They're a rare combination of limestone, clay, sand, and marl strewn across a region known for its biodiversity. Ventoux is, after all, the only AOC in Rhone to span two UNESCO biosphere reserves. AOC Ventoux benefits from a double blessing, a cool climate that shapes an exceptional terroir, as well as an untouched and breathtaking landscapes, says Frédéric Chaudière, president of AOC Ventoux and winemaker at Chateau Pesky. Consequently, our winemakers have a double mission, crafting great wines while preserving this remarkable ecosystem. Ventoux's award-winning tourism, like its wines, has also ramped up a notch. Hike or bike through quaint countryside villages and towns dotted with castles, monasteries, and abbeys, which add postcard stamp charm to unspoiled views of rolling vineyards, lavender fields, and pine forest, fringed by mighty Mount Ventoux and the surrounding hills. In this pastoral landscape with over 150 wineries, visitors can visit an array of tasting rooms, dine at an abundance of eateries from modern bistros to traditional fine dining, and relax at accommodations ranging from campsites to charming maisons and upscale hotels built into the hillsides. Brown sugar rums, a globe-trotting array of influences, are bringing the spirit to these shores. White rums, made from fresh cane juice or molasses, remain bar staples. A growing range of brown sugar rums offer exciting new options to pour. No, these rums don't taste like brown sugar, yet they offer remarkably complex flavors with fruity or grassy nuances that molasses can't match. Fans of global cuisines will want to snag a bottle of brown sugar-based rum. This nascent category reflects a wide range of cultures that use brown sugar in various forms for cooking. Think India's jaggery, Japan's kokuto, or panela, piloncillo, chanaka, or rapadura, just some of the names used in Mexico and Latin American countries. It's many names for the same thing, explains rum expert Peter Holland. In short, cane juice boiled down to an unrefined sugar, as opposed to refined white sugar, and sometimes packed into shapes like cones, panela or piloncillo, bricks or balls, jaggery. In this solid form, it offers numerous benefits to rum makers. He notes, you've got a source that can be more readily stored, takes up less space, and has a smaller carbon footprint to transport and generally retains a strong connection to the source. Once reconstituted, these brown sugars can be fermented and distilled into rum with attitude. For example, Hilton Head Distillery in South Carolina makes Panela rum, a lively white rum with bright hints of lemongrass and toasted coconut that would shine in a daiquiri. The distillery works with a third-generation Colombian farm to source Panela, which allows us to support the communities and traditions that have made Panela what it is today, explains wholesale director Matt Manning. While the distillery team isn't Colombian, it's about paying tribute to the rum makers who came before us, he says. And from a distilling perspective, Panela is a dream to work with, he adds, a clue as to why these rums are proliferating. During the fermentation process, he continues, it gives the yeast a little extra to work with, and that shows up in the quality of the rum. Elsewhere, India's Amrat, a distillery better known for its single malt whiskey, recently introduced Amrat Bella, which it calls a single jaggery rum. Aged in ex-bourbon casks, the new to the U.S. limited edition has a maple hue and shines with luscious caramelized stone fruit and spice. Made with jaggery sourced in Mandya, India's sugar city, the base ingredient is cane juice plus pulp, which is cooked to caramelize the solids and reduce moisture content. The resulting caramel-colored solid is typically rolled into a ball and wrapped in cloth for families to use at home as a sweetener when cooking. Since jaggery is used for food consumption, Amrit has to obtain special government permission to distill it, explains Raj Sabharwal, founding partner of Glass Revolution Imports, which imports Amrat. The brown sugar solids are reconstituted and then distilled to make rum. Bella is currently available only in the U.S. and India. A single cask U.S. exclusive offering is planned for 2025. In addition to cultural connections, brown sugar rums also appeal in terms of flavor. For those who find molasses-based rums too generic and agricole, fresh cane juice, rums too pungent, brown sugar rums offer an amiable middle ground. They contain just enough molasses content to evoke familiar hints of almond or toasted coconut, while delicate hints of tropical fruit or fresh-cut grass linger in the background. Still, there's no mistaking it for any other spirit but rum. The underlying sugar cane remains evident. Even barrel aging doesn't overpower brown sugar, Holland observed. It generally retains a strong connection to the source. The sweetest things. A wide range of sugars are used to make rum. Do you know the difference? Cane juice, liquid pressed from sugarcane stalks, can be distilled into rum, usually called agricole rum. It can also be processed to make sugar and molasses. Cane syrup. Cane juice, with a substantial amount of water evaporated, creates a thick liquid. Some producers call it sugarcane honey. Molasses. What's left behind after cane juice is processed and sugar crystals are removed. It has a dark or amber hue and a thick, viscous texture. Raw or unrefined brown sugar. Unrefined sugar, with some molasses content, the method, flavor, and shape can vary. Piloncillo is often described as having a smoky note, while jaggery is considered richer and has a caramel-like flavor. Muscovado, a particularly dark molasses-saturated brown sugar, often carries a toffee-like note. The Crush, hybrid grapes. Petite Pearl, A small but mighty grape that is well equipped for chaotic weather patterns produces unexpectedly high-quality wines. A few weeks into harvest's 14-hour workdays, all the grapes start blurring together. But then there's Petite Pearl. It's the type of grape that can make even the sleep-deprived harvest interns poke their head out and wonder, what is this? Its dense clusters of small blue-black berries are unlike almost anything else on the crush pad. It's truly in a lane of its own, says Tyzak Wharton, winemaker at Carboy, which has 4 locations throughout Colorado. When they started first working with the grape in 2017, they weren't quite sure what to do with it. They set out to make a rosé, but ended up doing a sought-after single varietal red. Petite Pearl was bred in Minnesota by Tom Plosher, owner of Plosher Vines. His goal was to create a grape that could withstand cold winters, be disease-resistant, and, most important, make good, well-balanced wine. Petite Pearl hit the market in 2009, but Plosher stood on the shoulders of viticulturalists before him, like Louis Swelter, who in the 1800s sought to breed a grape that could survive cold winters. The result was the Beta, which you can still find growing on old fences around Minnesota. It does indeed withstand cold winters, but the wine is terrible, Plosher says. Beta would be used as a parent to produce generations of cold-hardy grape. It's one of the key grapes in Petite Pearl's complex parentage. Elmer Swenson, a mentor of Plosher, spent his life breeding hardy grapes. I was able to bring together University of Minnesota's breeding line with Swenson's to create Petite Pearl, says Plosher. Compared with other cold hardy varieties that were growing, it has a chemistry more similar to vinifera varieties, says Ethan Joseph, head winemaker at Shelbourne Vineyard in Vermont. Joseph was the first to plant the grape when it was released. At the time, he was just trying to find grapes that would grow well in Vermont. But it isn't just enough to be hardy in the cold. A grape needs to be able to withstand a myriad of unpredictable climate shifts. In the last 5 years or so, our winters have been warming. So what's become more important is a grape's hardiness in the shoulder seasons when the climate has become unpredictable. When I started breeding Petite Pearl, the big issue was hardiness to extreme cold midwinter temperatures, says Plosher. With the progression of climate change, warm spring temperatures arrive earlier and encourage some grapes to lose their winter dormancy. But there's a risk of freezing when temperatures drop again. Petite Pearl is a late budding variety, and even if there is a freeze that kills its primary buds, its secondary buds can be up to 80% fruitful. This isn't the case with classic European wineries like Merlot. Take on tuna. This recipe, from a standard bearer of Oaxacan cultural cuisine, falls somewhere between aguachile and tataki. Puerto Escondido, on the Oaxacan coast, has emerged as one of Mexico's hottest travel destinations. In recent years, a wide variety of design-driven boutique hotels has opened along a seemingly endless coastline, drawing artists, celebs, and influence in equal measure. Accordingly, a spirited culinary scene has emerged as well, reimagining the region's traditions and ingredients with a global perspective. Helmed by chefs Xalaxli Macias and Quetzalcoatl Zorilla, a native of the region, Almoraduz was a pioneer in this new wave of comida costeña oaxacareña, Oaxacan coastal cuisine. Beets are a year-round staple in Oaxaca, seen in empanadas, tostadas, salads, juices, and more. Here, the sauce includes Japanese-inspired ingredients for a dish that falls somewhere between aguachile and tataki. The burnt chili adds an intriguing contrast of pungency and char. Tuna tataki with chili ash and beet emulsion. 2/3 of a cup of fresh beet juice. 1 serrano or small jalapeno chile stemmed. 5 tablespoons freshly squeezed lime juice, 2½ tablespoons light soy sauce, 2 tablespoons agave syrup or mild honey, 1 tablespoon toasted sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of minced fresh ginger, 2 teaspoons of minced chive, 1 ounce guajillo chilies, about 4 large, stemmed and seeded, 8 ounces best quality tuna loin, avocado or other vegetable oil as needed, 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 1 shallot or small spring onion cut into paper-thin rings, 1/2 small avocado diced into cubes, 2 packed tablespoons baby beet greens or beet sprouts, 2 packed tablespoons cilantro leaves. In a blender, add the beet juice, serrano chile, lime juice, soy sauce, agave syrup, sesame oil, and ginger, and blend until smooth and emulsified. Taste and add more lime, soy, or agave if desired. Stir in the chives, cover, and refrigerate until needed. This can be made 1 day ahead, stirring in the chives just before using. Heat an oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake guajillo chiles until they blacken and turn brittle. Check often as timing will vary. Grind to a powder in a spice grinder or small food processor and sift through a fine mesh strainer for an even powder. Set aside. Rub the tuna with oil and salt. Pat the chili ash on in a thin, equal layer. Coat a large sauté pan with oil and place over high heat. Sear the tuna just to seal the ash into the surface, no more than 45 seconds per side, and transfer to a plate. To serve, slice the tuna 1/4 inch thick, pour just enough sauce to cover the bottom of a shallow bowl or a deep plate. You may not need all the sauce. Arrange tuna decoratively on top and garnish with shallot, avocado, beet greens, and cilantro. Serves 4 as an appetizer. Wine pairing. Maybe it's because rosé pairs so well with the balmy weather and maritime breezes of the northern Baja Peninsula, but it's rare to find a winery in Valle de Guadalupe, Mexico's largest region, that doesn't have a rosé in its lineup. Grenache is one of the most popular grapes used in rosé there, where it expresses the grape's bold acidity and fresh flavors of wild herbs and blood orange. In this dish, a fresh rosé can straddle the bright sauce and almost raw fish while having enough presence for the earthy beets and meaty tuna. Spice Trail. This mezcal margarita with a habanero kick is a road trip through Mexico in a glass. If spicy margarita is your go-to, you do want this smoke featuring mezcal, an agave-based spirit that resembles Blanco tequila with a bit of vegetal sass. It's practically a road trip in a glass, paying homage to 3 key points in Mexico. From north to south, the recipe was devised in San Miguel de Allende in the colonial highlands, but Mexico City plays a role too. Award-winning Handshake Speakeasy, located in the central cosmopolitan capital, has a hand in the drinks at the Lux Casa de Sierra Nevada resort. And winding farther south, mezcal, the agave spirit that's one of Oaxaca's most beloved exports, forms the core of this cocktail, accented with fresh mint and habanero, tied together with an unexpected splash of herbaceous absinthe. If possible, opt for an espadín mezcal from the most commonly found varietal of agave used to make the spirit. We like Del Maguey, Vida, Don Vega Espadín, and Montelobos Espadín Joven for mixing. Made in Oaxaca. 2 slices of cucumber, 5 mint leaves, 1 habanero pepper slice, 1/3 ounce simple syrup, 2 ounces of mezcal, and 1 bar spoon of absinthe. Habanero pepper slice for garnish. In a cocktail shaker, muddle the cucumber, mint, and habanero with simple syrup. Add mezcal, absinthe, and ice. Shake well, strain into a coupe glass, and garnish with a habanero pepper slice. Searching for Rosa Chardonnay. A rare pink skin grape mutation isn't easy to find now, but it might be in your future. You can't help but become captivated when someone mentions Rosa Chardonnay, an enigmatic grape, also sometimes called Chardonnay rosé, like the flower, the naming of which has nothing to do with rosé, although it could make one. It's an ultra-rare mutation of Chardonnay with pink skins. It is stubbornly resistant to Googling, and also likely bunch rot and botrytis. The path to tracking down its provenance in plantings outside France is considerably more book-based. A small tonnage appears every year on the Lodi Wape Grower Commission's report because Lang Twins Family Winery and Vineyards has 9 rows planted and, according to President Marissa Lang, intends to make sparkling wine from them. Then the trail goes somewhat cold. There are conflicting reports of where the unique mutation originated. While the grape can be found growing in Montpellier, some say it first came from Baden, Germany, or Alsace. Others think it had a Burgundian birth in Mâcon. The 1979 edition of Pierre Gallet's A Practical Amphilography, a grape identification book, mentions there exists a Chardonnay rose, which is not propagated, but offers no more information. A clone has now been cleaned up at Geisenheim University in Germany and is being studied there. That clone is available for propagation, but the folks at Geisenheim did not have much light to shed on its history. We are hoping it has some other benefits besides the beautiful cosmetic ones, says Aaron Lang, Vice President of Vineyard Operations at Lang Twins, who sourced Geisenheim clone planted in Lodi from a nursery, and is curious to see what it can contribute. Those pink skins seem to be a little more durable, less prone to rot, and perhaps less prone to sunburn for those heat events that are predicted to increase in frequency for the foreseeable future. Rosa ripens a bit later than regular Chardonnay, which may explain why it retains acidity as well. The blushing pink hue doesn't come to the berries until they reach about 21 or 22 bricks, so almost full maturity. If pressed gently without skin contact, there's no detectable color in the resultant wine, though phenolics from the skin can add complexity. All might be reasons why growers in Champagne are beginning to propagate it more widely. Unfortunately, I think it is going to require a trip to France to really understand the history of this selection, says Aaron Lang, suggesting hopefully that we hop a flight. At this juncture, we are still waiting to hear back from accounting. Planting a flag. In North Carolina's Yadkin Valley AVA, the successful protocol is no protocol. North Carolina's state motto, Esse quam videri, to be rather than to seem, is spot on. The Yadkin Valley, much like much of the state, is a place to be real and easygoing, or just real easygoing. For example, is the Yadkin Valley the easiest place in the state to grow grapes? Not really. But with over 50 wineries, it is wildly prolific, like much of North Carolina, with numerous grape varieties planted. A few of them become defining, and plenty of others are powerful regional representatives, offering consistency, depth, and refinement. Viticulture in central North Carolina is a familiar post-Prohibition story, reawakening due to a new generation of grape growers and winemakers who've invested in the region with a vision and optimism. Jay Raffaldini, co-owner of Raffaldini Vineyards in Swan Creek AVA, in the Brushy Mountain foothills and south central in the Yadkin Valley AVA, explains, "We are planting a flag to show it's possible to do this in North Carolina. The AVA, the state's first and largest, is shaped like a miniature version of the state of Florida, albeit with a fluffy panhandle. Pilot Mountain to the north is an auspicious monadnock, a lone monolith of metamorphic quartzite eroded to a knob-like formation. The Yadkin River cuts through the center, flowing from Blowing Rock, North Carolina to South Carolina, where it becomes the Petey River, to the Atlantic Ocean. The profound agrarian promise that defined 19th century wine and spirits in North Carolina is being realized through listening and learning, not compromising, and also, quite frankly, not being too pretentious. Fermentation science programs at Surrey Community College, Appalachian State University, North Carolina State University, and Fayetteville Technical Community College are infusing the wine industry with skilled enologists. North Carolina's Wine Growers Association hosts an international wine symposium in May. You can't grow a wine region without camaraderie, says Mark Ryszlowski, winemaker at Childress Vineyards. Yadkin Valley soils are relentlessly fertile. There's abundant sunshine and rain, sometimes too much of both. Ripening isn't a challenge, but rain, frosts, Pierce's disease, and mildew are. J.W. Ray is the owner and winemaker at Jolo Winery and Vineyards in Pilot Mountain, where the namesake Mount reminds weekend revelers of the breadth of geologic time that shaped North Carolina's Appalachian region and diverse clay, schist, and mica soils. Ray planted grapes in pursuit of versatility and consistency. For example, early harvest Chambourcin takes the lead in Jolo's Rosé blend, but it can be vinified as a single varietal red within blends, sparkling wines, and dessert wines. Finding balance, stability, and interplay with hybrids while experimenting with vinifera like Merlot and Cabernet Franc has proven an effective strategy for growing a successful wine program. Ray also describes planting a flag in a state without preconceived notions about one should or could grow. Unpretentiousness and nonconformity have freed up many to dig deep to build on their successes. Raffaldini Vineyards exemplifies the latter, committing to a painstaking appassimento process for all wines, an Italian viticultural process where drying grapes on mats or racks reduces their volume and concentrates flavors, acids, and flavor. Ryszlowski explains that wineries are inclined to invest experimentation. The state is growing, and good, consistent wine year after year will ensure our reputation. At Round Peak Vineyards in Mount Airy, in the AVA's northern corridor, winemaker Eric Steinbicker, a graduate of Surrey Community College's Viticulture and Enology program, takes pride in a new skin contact Vidal Blanc that drinks like a Georgian amber wine and has tremendous character, adding, "There are wines that will catch the eyes of younger wine consumers. Our adaptation to hybrids has been promising for quality. If we grow what works, our region will only flourish, and overly ripe, overly oaky, and overly planted varieties will be history." Date established, December 9th, 2002. Total size, 1.4 million acres. Planted acreage, 829. Most widely planted grapes: Petit Manseng, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Chardonnay, Sangiovese, Montepulciano. Native grape, Muscadine, and hybrids include Treminette, Vidal Blanc, Chambourcin, Cynthiana. The climate is warm continental with interim periods of humidity. Fun fact, more than 50 llamas roam the pastoral grounds of Divine Llama Vineyards in East Bend, North Carolina, about a half-hour west of downtown Winston-Salem, some of which are show llamas as majestic as thoroughbreds. Thailand is becoming a very good place to drink wine. From an onerous tariff being lifted to a curious younger generation, the country is poised for pours. Bangkok is not a place one goes to relax, an older wine journalist said to me rather condescendingly when I mentioned I would be there shortly and look forward to using the visit to unwind a bit. I understood his point. Asian megacities aren't known for their chill vibes and calming atmospheres, but in my case, I need to relax is actually shorthand for I need to take a break from tasting so much Italian wine. So Thailand seemed like a perfect choice for a reset after another punishing year of having to judge expensive juice from the peninsula for a living. Alas, as probably everyone who knows me could have guessed, it was less than 72 hours before I found myself in a private dining room at the much-lauded Lenzi Tuscan Kitchen, popping magnums of older vintage Barolo in a room full of hospitality professionals, getting wildly excited about drinking wine, Italian or otherwise, in Thailand. There's very good reason to be excited about wine in Thailand right now, even if you're not several glasses deep, shoving prosciutto in your face while doing karaoke to songs played off your friend's phone. The lifting of once punishing tariffs on wine, a whopping 54% on standard table wines from countries without a free trade agreement, in a decision from the Thai Ministry of Finance in 2024, means that wine is becoming cheaper and both more readily and more widely available to this young, vibrant population, especially in thirsty Bangkok, where drinkers consume 60% more per capita than the national average. The market for drinkers is continuously growing. What stands out is how intrepid wine drinkers are in Thailand. Their desire to explore is what promises the most for the future. It's very exciting to see people wanting to learn the right stuff and the effort they make to truly appreciate wine. They are very intrigued to learn more, try more, drink more. The capital's cocktail culture has already become the envy of the world with its unique ability to sit at a crossroads of avant-garde sophistication and sensitive attention to the tradition of local ingredients, from the delightful performance-driven sips offered at Tep Cultural Bar of Thailand to the carefully guided offerings at Independence Cocktail Bar and beyond. Wine is not a luxury product for a niche anymore, or only available in fine dining restaurants. The trend of wine bars focusing on approachable and easy-to-drink wines is going to continue and grow as locals and visitors are looking for value and enjoy themselves with wine. Would that we all saw wine as approachable, non-niche, easy to drink, and just enjoy it ourselves. Thailand seems ready to lead the way. This is Steve, and I've been reading from The Wine Enthusiast.